Welcome to our spiritual playground. This podcast is a playground for spiritual growth. When you're here, you will experiment with energy, embrace joy and laughter, manifest miracles, and meet the soul sisters you've always wanted.
Think of this as an enchanted nook where you can explore ideas, energy, healing, and everyday magic with openness, curiosity, and a little sparkle. We believe spirituality gets to be practical and playful. No rules, no pressure, just permission to feel what's true for you. So take a breath, pull on your sweats, and come play with us. In this episode, we are sharing a bit about how our spirituality unfolded over time and how the work that we do today blends education, intuition, and real experience.
And as a bonus, we close this episode with a short guided visualization for you to start exploring the idea of owning your power by embracing resistance. Hey, Sue.
Hi, Heather.
Well, here we are in our spiritual playground. How excited!
So excited to play today.
Oh, well, I think you and I are very much the same in the way that we are enthusiastic, excited people, and we just jump right in. So we already recorded one episode of our spiritual playground and decided, we should probably introduce ourselves.
Probably a good idea in case people want to know, just in case.
Right? Want to know who they're hanging out here on the playground with?
Yeah. So I feel like we'll, we can share some today, but I always want to leave people wanting more.
Yeah.
So we'll just, we'll share some of the, fun, juicy tidbits of our spiritual adventures.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. Well, I thought it might be a good place to start because you probably get the same question, which is, have you always been this way? Have you always been able to do this? That's just a sort of a burning question a lot of people seem to have.
Yeah.
You hear that a lot? How do you answer that question?
Oof. It's funny because I don't hear that a lot, but I do hear, how do I get started? So people want to know based on my experience, how to get started. So as far as have you always been this way? Gosh, I think back and there are key times in my life when I made decisions that did not seem rational, but I had an inner knowing. And so I can pinpoint those, and some of those were in college and some of those were in high school. And I think as a little kid, I got tied up in a lot of what are my friends doing, and I want to be the same as them, but didn't necessarily feel the same as them, but couldn't put words to it. And it's funny though, I can remember as a little kid going to a friend's house and they would get the Ouija board out, and I didn't love it. I did not love it. It kind of freaked me out. And it's funny because I talked to my husband about it. It's like, I don't think I love it now either. I don't know why. I just don't.
I'm not a fan.
It's just not my thing. I don't need it. I guess I just don't need it. So when did I know? I feel like I really started to pick up on it as a teacher. So working with students, I would intuitively know what they needed or direction or strategy. And it wasn't necessarily something that it didn't come from a book.
Right. Nobody taught you that.
Right. It wasn't something I learned in college. It was just inner tuning into them, but I didn't realize I was tuning into them at the time until I started to realize I was tuning into them. And even then, I didn't know the depth of it. And for me, it started as just trusting that inner knowing and not doubting it, even if it didn't make sense, even if it wasn't rational, reasonable. And so I just kept following that. And that led me to start to read some books, get into, probably this was in the 90s. We started book clubs. We would go camping, and girlfriends of mine and I would read the John Edwards book, and we would talk about it. What's that?
It's so fun. I love
So fun.
that.
So
Yeah.
fun. Yeah, because we're camping and we're hanging out, and it was relaxed. And so we would read up to a certain chapter, and then we would discuss it. And I still love doing that to this day, and I still do it to this day. But that led me, John Edwards. I want to say John Edwards led me to Esther Hicks, Abraham. And it was just this little beautiful trail of me being
Mhm.
open and curious. Oh no, Celestine Prophecy was before that.
What was it?
The
South.
Celestine Prophecy, James Redfield.
Oh.
That was, I can remember being in bed reading that in 1990, like 6, 7, 8. I can remember where I was, and I felt in so much alignment with what was in the book. So if people haven't read that, and if you haven't read that,
Yeah,
it's a
no.
doozy, and there's a whole bunch more now since that original
Mm.
one. It's so awesome. And there's a movie, of course, but the book's better. Anyway, yeah, so it was just really a trail of breadcrumbs that I just
Yeah.
started to trust and be open to and be curious about, and then just said yes. I kept saying yes. I kept saying yes until some really epic things started to happen, uh, with mediumship and the writing, the writing with spirit, and those kinds of things happened very organically in college classes. Is when I had my first experience with writing with spirit. It was a transpersonal
Interesting.
psych class. It was so cool. And yeah, and it was the very end of it was a 3-day intensive course up at Plymouth State University, which they don't do anymore, which is such a bummer. And the end, the teacher, we were all, bonded over the course of the weekend.
Yep.
And the teacher said, okay, now I am going to have you do some writing. And I just want you to trust what comes through. Just be open to what comes through. And I got this beautiful, gorgeous message that made me cry about how everything, dear Sue, everything is going to be okay. And it started talking about all these different things that were going on in my life, but it wasn't me writing, but it was me writing. So that was my first experience. And then
Wow.
just
Cool.
I wanna ping pong to you because I'm so excited to hear about yours. I feel like so much of this stuff we're going to be talking about in the different episodes. These are such fun conversations to have.
I know, I know. And as you're talking, all of these memories are lighting up for me, you know? And I think about it like if you've ever been on one of those flights where they have the board with the dots, with the plane with the little dots.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
here, you're here, you're here. That's what's happening in my brain. Oh, and that time I watched that Wayne Dyer special in college.
Yeah,
I just sat the whole weekend and cried. That
yeah.
too,
And
right?
The Secret, right? And all these things that were really hot, hot, hot for a while. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. What about you?
Yeah.
How did it all
Um,
start for you?
okay. So I always say, because people say, like, have you always been this way? How did this all get started for you? And I always start by saying, I don't really know if the way that I felt was so different from the way that you felt, because we don't really know what it's like to be inside somebody else's experience.
Right.
So, for me, I know as a child, we grew up in the middle of nowhere, like legit the middle of nowhere. And so I spent a ton of time by myself, ton of time reading outside of nature with animals. It was a quiet childhood in a lot of respects. And because of that, I think I got really connected with my imagination. There was just so much, and the way we grew up anyway, there was more imagination. There was less screens and more imagination.
Back in the 70s, you mean?
Right? At the beginning of time.
Right.
And I know that I was always really sensitive. I know that the only way I can describe it is that I can say that I could see what was happening between people. And what I mean by that is I could see this person's feeling this, and that's why they're saying it this way. This person's worried about this or fearful of this or really wants this, and that's why they're behaving this way. And I just had this understanding of what was happening that was beyond the actual conversation that was happening.
Mm.
Um, and there were some sort of like mystical childhood experiences, lost time and different things, which were really kind of wild.
Oh,
But I didn't think of myself as intuitive or psychic or anything like that. I was always fascinated by that, but I didn't think of myself that way. Fast forward to I've got two small kids. I'm living in a town where my husband's from, but I'm not from. I'm feeling kind of isolated, working from home, and everybody said, when your kids start school, that's when you're going to, don't worry. That's when you're going to make all your friends. You're going to settle in. Everything's going to be fine. And so I at pick up and drop off like, welcome friends. Here we go.
oh, so cute.
um, and I recognized that the things that I was saying were very different from the things that other people were saying.
Mm.
For example, I would say something like, Sue, you know, it's so amazing the way you're so sparkly and your sparkle creates these ripples everywhere you go. So you just walk by this group of people who weren't really talking and suddenly they're talking. It just happens and it's such a gift, you know, it's, and so that kind of a thing. People don't know what to do with that really.
That's so good. I love this.
And so that I feel like I'm making this a really long story. I'm going to squeeze it.
No, I'm enthralled.
Okay.
Tell me more.
So I got curious about that. Why is it that we all have gifts that we seem to be hiding from or denying or downplaying or saying, oh, that's not a thing? I got curious about that. And so I started leading these classes with my friends to sort of explore stuff. And in that process, I said, I wonder if it's intuition that is what's giving me this. I wonder if that's what it is. And I started going, I swear to God, I thought it was an intuitive development circle. Looking back on the website 2 years later, it very clearly says mediumship development. And I don't think I would have gone to a mediumship development circle because that wasn't what I was interested in. It was intuitive development. And that's what I saw. And that's where I went. And immediately, as soon as I got there and sat down, I was like, this is the best thing ever. This is so fun.
Friends.
Exactly. Yeah. And so that's really where it started for me in terms of saying, oh, this is a thing. Something real is happening here. At the end of the class, the teacher said, okay, just give what you got. And if something keeps coming up, you have to say it because it's a thing. And I was like, there is no way in hell that I am saying anything. I don't know what I'm doing. These other people know what they're doing, not me. But I kept getting this image and this feeling. And so finally, right before the end of class, I said it. I said, I'm seeing this fireman's hat in the back of this man's head, and he's bald, and he's shorter than me. And I think there's a house in New Hampshire, like a cabin, but it feels like church, like this place is sacred. And this woman, not the woman right next to me, but her friend, that's my husband. He's a fireman. He's bald. He's short. We have a place in New Hampshire. And what? How is that possible?
Did you go?
Yeah. And that was the hook. That was spirit saying, boom.
Yeah. Seriously.
Because I think I tend to be very hard to convince. Like hard to convince. I'm kind of a maybe. I don't know.
Really?
Yeah. But spirit gives me these experiences where I'm like, well, I'm in. I can't.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
This is so good. I'm going to learn so much more about you as we do this, because I did not know that. I would not have said that you are a person that's hard to convince.
Yeah.
If someone said, is she? No. But spirit's doing the job for us. So
that's right. That's right.
Just like we don't have to convince anybody either, right?
Exactly.
We don't have to convince anybody of anything. And that's
what I say a lot of times in a reading. I say, you know what? Be skeptical. That's totally fine. Don't resist it. Just put your skepticism and your doubt like over here on the side and pick it back up after we talk.
Yeah.
So great. You're going to be able to work a lot better without that in the way. But in order for you to really feel it, you got to run it through your filters. You got to feel what's true for you.
Yeah. That's such a great I have a follow-up question based on what you just said right now. You have to feel what's true for you. You said the word feel, right? You have to
Mm-hmm.
feel what's true for you.
Yeah.
What does that feel like for you when you feel it? You
Oh,
just
right.
know. Yeah.
Well, right before we pressed record, we were talking about resistance, right?
Sure.
And
Yes.
and so there's like it's like you remember those tracks, Hot Wheels tracks or
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
where right? It's like the tracks aren't lined up, but when it's true, it lines up and it just and so any resistance, any misalignment just goes, meh, I give up, I surrender because it just feels true. So it just my body lets go. There's a feeling of flow of even if it's not even if it's like, oh, it's true. I'm going to have that conversation. I'm going to have to let that thing go or say no to this opportunity or whatever it is. When it feels true, there's that release.
And
Yeah.
do you have that same kind of a feeling when it's inner knowing, when it's your inner wisdom talking? Is it that same kind of track alignment?
Oh, that's a good question.
Thank you.
Um, I'm going to answer that in two parts. One, like if it's next steps for me, yes. If it's in a like client work, a lot of
Mm.
times what I notice is that as I start to speak it, that strengthens and that flows. So
Ooh, nice.
right. So like the other day
Mhm.
I was talking with a client and I said to him, we were talking about his mom who's passed and whatever. And I said, there's something about ice. She keeps giving me ice and it's a car on ice, but it's also ice like pond ice, ice skating. And then as soon as I said ice, it was like acknowledging that had shown up for me. And the more I started talking, then the alignment happens. Then the flow happens. Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you? What do you feel
Yeah.
like for you?
Oh, for me, I've always explained it in a certain way, and it wasn't until just within the last year or so that I realized what it really is. So when something is true for me, uh, I get a few different feelings. So one is my chest gets warm
Mhm.
if it's for me. Two, I get tears of resignation. So I feel like that's my soul's way of giving me a physical reaction so that I can actually
You won't miss it.
yeah, exactly. So I can say, oh, okay, be aware.
Yep.
But the biggest thing is kind of like what you said with the Matchbox track or the Hot Wheels track. For me, when I'm in alignment, it feels like there's a line or a rod going right through the top of my head and coming out the bottom of my feet.
Yeah.
And so it's just like everything is totally lined up.
Yeah.
And this is when I have, for myself, especially, it's a hard yes. Like, oh my gosh, yes. And there's no reasonable reason
Hmm.
that I should know this. And what I realized within the last year is my chakras are aligned. It is my freaking energy system. Boop, 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 boop. That's all in alignment going, oh
Yeah.
yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And that's such a pretty beautiful visual to have along with the feeling now that I have it. So that's what it is like
Mhm.
for me personally when
Mhm.
it's a true for me, it's a hard yes.
Yeah.
And then when it's client work, um what one of the things that you said about, I said ice, and then all of a sudden it started to get really clear. It's the same kind of a thing where I will have an image come into my head or a feeling, and then I
Mhm.
will say it, and then I can feel their energy, and it's like an alignment of energy. Like yes, so say I was using the word ice, I feel like I'm in alignment with their energy, and then it just keeps getting more and more clear, like ice.
Mhm.
Beautiful
Mhm.
example. Yeah. Yeah. I'll have to pay attention more. I've got a couple of readings today and tomorrow. I'll have to pay attention more to the physicality of it in my body
Mhm.
to
Yeah.
be able to, uh, keep track of that for the future.
Mhm. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
helpful stuff, right? It's so good
Yeah.
for us to be aware, no matter who we are, of when something is a yes. It feels easy, it feels flowy. For me, it feels loose, it feels expansive, it feels exciting,
Mhm.
versus a no.
Yeah.
feels really restrictive and my chest gets like somebody's sitting on it. And I
Mhm.
think that's like that for a lot of people. I mean, you and I both have talked about this in workshops
Yeah.
before. So,
Yeah, for sure.
okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Ah,
yeah.
that's like
Okay.
fun combos.
Um, I think that probably people are curious about the work that we actually do, because there's so
Okay.
much similarity in what we do. We
Yeah.
do the same, readings, coaching, workshops, classes, groups, our
Retreat.
retreat. Um, and each is the flavor of us. Each is,
Yeah.
so can you say a little bit about the work that you do, in terms of like what you actually do and what you do?
Okay. Oh my gosh, don't make me talk about myself. I would love to share what I do because it is just I know that I'm here to do this work. And
Mm-hmm.
every time I think something different than this, excuse me, spirit's like, no, 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 no. This, yes, this is all a hard yes. And
Yeah.
we all have these moments of maybe I should try blah 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 or do blah
Mm-hmm.
blah blah. And for me, being an educator for over 30 years and teaching everything under the sun from preschool through college and being a professional development presenter that I still am currently, education is the foundation of everything I do. So when this part of my life started to really open up and blossom, I feel like because I'm a lifelong learner, that curiosity led me on the trail of breadcrumbs, or like you said, the plane with the little dots, right? It led me to this. So it doesn't matter what it is. I feel like I always am educating because it's just such a natural part of me. So first and foremost, that's it. Like, I want to teach people how to fish, not always give you a fish. I will do both, absolutely, but I want to teach people how to do all of this themselves, how to just uncover it, because we can. We all have capability to tune in. It's just
Yeah.
tones, getting quiet to tune into it. So what do I do? Well, I offer different kinds of readings. One is a past life reading that I actually do with people virtually or in person. That is 3 sections. It's the first is I get a visual of this past life. It's always of the highest good. It's always something that's going to help you get a visual of it. I write everything down. I ask for a message from that life to this life that will help support you. So this is a life that is supporting your current life. And then I ask for a tool, a technique, a ritual, a strategy, or a recipe that you can use in your current life that will support you. And that has been that over the past year is my most popular reading
I
because
gotta get myself one of these. That sounds awesome.
it is awesome. It is so, and all you have to do is sit back and relax. I take you through a little guided visualization and you just rest. So
Mm.
it's easy. And then we talk, I share each section, we discuss each section. We talk about, oh my gosh, like my grandfather lived in Italy. It's not always that way, but a lot of times people will,
Mhm.
uh,
Mhm.
95% of the time, I would say people are saying things like, that explains why I'm afraid of going on a snowmobile because I was in a snowmobile accident in this previous life, like stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
So insightful. So it's not just to do it for fun, it's educational. It's to help us in our current life. I do something called a Trust Your Vibes reading, which, again, without going through all the steps of it, it is to help you tune in. So the first lens is you tuning into the cards. The second lens is me tuning into the cards. And the third lens is there's always like a cute little book or something that comes from the author of the cards that you can get for additional perspective. So that's another really popular, depending on what the spread and the layout is, it's very popular. Let's see. I made a list. I do clarity and soul coaching, which are sessions in uncovering all these different capabilities that we have that we've either been poo-pooing or suppressing or not realizing. And so that's to help people to uncover that and gain clarity. Let's see. Workshops galore. all different topics, connecting with spirit guides, learning how to write from the heart, which is intuitive writing, soul scribing. Retreats I get to do with my buddy Heather. We create a retreat experience, obviously, once a year in Maine, in Winthrop on a gorgeous lake. That's always in September. And that just brings beautiful souls who are open to connecting, receiving, and learning. I have a soul, it's called Sue's Soul Sisterhood. It is an in-person group of women that are doing beautiful things in the world with the focus of healing ourselves, loving ourselves, filling ourselves up so that it will spill over to the rest of the world, and then just connecting and having fun and learning and having guest speakers come in to talk about numerology and all kinds of stuff. But I also have an online community that is free called Sue Soul Sisterhood that you have to it's private, you can't find it, so you have to hit me up and message me if you want in, and I will let you in on Facebook. Just message me. I have something called that's starting tonight,
Wow.
actually tonight, so today, in January, is called As You See Fit, which is we are focusing on the book by Marianne Williamson, New York Times bestselling author, and obviously she also ran for president.
Mhm.
Called A Course in Weight Loss, 21 Spiritual Lessons to Surrender Your Weight. And that is for those of us who know what to eat and know what to drink water and know to move and know how much to eat. And we know those things. And
Mhm.
as a former wellness coach for a very well-known company, I know these things, but I do believe there is more to the story. So we're going to dig. We're
Mhm.
going to uncover and use these lessons and discuss. And I'm going to integrate the intuitive writing and some guided visualization and really make it a unique experience that's virtually Wednesday nights or Wednesday mornings, depending on which group you're in. And then I do things like spirit lounges, which are group readings to have people connect with a
Mhm.
loved one. And I do that very specifically. Everyone gets to connect. I have them bring certain things with them. It is a unique experience, different than anything I've ever been to, because again, I want to teach. So I
Mhm.
give them an opportunity to tune in as well. And just looking over. And then I have a soul scribing society, which is to support people in this intuitive writing, because we love to get our heads about it and
Mhm.
say, oh, I'm just making it up, or this is crazy. You know, no, then that's once a month, and that's really cool too. So there's more, but I feel like that's plenty. That's plenty.
Yeah. And where can people what's the best way for people to learn more about all this stuff and
Connect with me. So I have a stand store, which is basically a landing page, and that is joyandco.us, and it'll be in the show notes as well. And you
Mhm.
can click that and you can see what's current. And if you want to DM me, you can hit me up on Facebook at Sue Penney Bergman, or Instagram as at Sue Penney Bergman as well. And that's Penny with an EY, like JC Penny, but no relation. Yeah, those are
Awesome.
some ways. Yeah.
Yeah, you are
Okay.
a high energy lady. You always got a
Yeah.
lot of things going. But I definitely am, as I'm hearing all of this, feeling that education connection. Like so much of what does energize you is the education. Like that
It
really
really is.
gives it the little hamsters on the wheels running super fast when you are doing that in that education mode. It's just like
It's it's the alignment, right? It's that all the way to the toes. Like
yeah.
it's not it's not always about me just sharing. It's about me guiding
Hmm.
people and facilitating an experience. And it's not also about me always being the teacher. So in Soul Sisterhood, we are all teachers.
Hmm.
And in the physical, in person, and in the virtual, we're all sharing
Hmm.
what we know and our insight. And it's just a safe and special place to
Yeah.
connect,
Yeah.
um, because it isn't all about me, but I seem to be one that naturally, my whole life naturally likes to bring people together. It
Hmm.
feels so good.
Mm.
And so this just is all making sense now.
Yeah, right? Looking back, I can see exactly how I landed here. Yeah, perfect.
Exactly, exactly. What about you? What are you up to?
Well, I think if I were to pick sort of a theme for me, that theme being that sensitive person that really, um, I've had this love of sort of spirituality, other dimensions, like what else is really happening? If what I'm seeing is this, and I know that there's more that I'm not seeing. So I've always had since childhood this curiosity and what else is there. And being really sensitive, and being a human, all of my life dealt with anxiety, depression, self-esteem, confidence, all of that. And I used to read, and I still do actually, but it's a different kind of study. Instead of how do I fix this, it's how do I understand more of what's happening, right? So
I have a quick
yeah, go.
question. When you say sensitive, do
Yeah.
you mean sensitive to energy versus sensitive emotionally or both?
I think all the way around,
Okay.
all the way around. And what studying intuition, mediumship, psychic, energy healing, what that has taught me is that that's the core of my being. And I believe everyone's being.
Mm.
That's the core. That's how we're feeling our human experience and our soul experiencing our human experience is that. And then it's our ego, our brain, which is saying that's because it's giving it reasons. That's because you didn't do a good enough job. That's because you don't know enough. That's because you need another certification. That's because. And so what I've learned is that if I can keep remembering to come back here to what's happening inside and what am I feeling and just sit with that, everything I need to know is there. Self-love is there, self-compassion is there, self-understanding is there, my ability to communicate with other people, to manifest things in my life, it's all right there. And so my work, that is the heart of my work. It is this acknowledgement that it can be painful to be a human, and it
Oof.
can feel like I need to be different, I need to be fixed, I need to be healed, I need to be other than what I am. And that it's that I am that does all of that you're looking for. So that's really kind of the nooks and crannies of all of the facets of what I do, right? Exploring that in ways. Um, and so I do one-on-one, just, one-off readings or check-in readings. Let's see what's
Nice.
going on. And that's uh, all around that place. It might be, here's how you can reinterpret this situation, how you can reinterpret what you're feeling, how you can shift your energy and notice how the world around you shifts to adjust to that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
um and I do intuition coaching, which is really this. Like I just got off a call with a client, and we sat and we practiced. She imagined she was in her cubicle at work, and she imagined, okay, what's the energy of this person? What's the energy of this person? And when it started, it was her brain figuring it out. Well, I know this person's like this and like that and like this. And I said, but what is it that's telling you that? There's a feeling inside of you that
Wow.
those thoughts are matching. So can we track it back to the feeling? And when she did that, all of a sudden, boom, oh,
So
I've got
awesome.
a whole other understanding. So intuition coaching, really helping you understand your own intuition, how to work with it, what's happening, and really come home.
Yeah.
Come home. You're safe here.
Remember, my dear, remember. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
And
my
so
gosh.
workshops and classes and all of that, all on this theme. And I love a collaboration. I love
Mm,
our retreat where we collab together. I have a dear friend, Molly Delahy, and we do a monthly workshop together. And Molly does this gorgeous, juicy, shake your soul. And so we have
Yeah. Oh,
our
so
body.
fun.
And you always say, you move, what's your expression? You got to move the emotion. Emotion.
Yeah, you got to move it to move it. You got
Yeah,
to move it to move it. We've got to move the emotions right through
exactly.
our body by moving. Yeah.
So, yeah. So
Yeah.
there's always something new, popping up. And I love that because I get bored easily. So,
Can you tell me and us more about the Miracles Club?
oh, the Miracles Club. Thank you.
Mm.
The
You're
Miracles
welcome, because
Club.
I have experienced that and it was miraculous. So I
Oh,
feel like the world needs to know about the Miracles Club.
okay. Here's the most important thing that's jumping out at me about the Miracles Club. And that is this is how you feel the I in connection with the all. Right? And what I mean by that is when you start to watch for the miracles and see the miracles, just like before we pressed record, we were bouncing miracle to miracle, the connection to connection. You logged in and I said, and you did something that I was like, you would be great on QVC. And you said, well, I was on QVC, right? And then that led to this and to that and to this and to that and to something I journaled this morning. And then I opened an email and the email said exactly what I had been journaling about. And when you start to see that and watch for that, you feel less alone. You understand, I can just focus on here. The rest is lining up for me. I don't need to figure out how to fix my husband or how to make my online course sell, $1 million. I need to be here. And then I just take the next inspired action and it works. And so the Miracles Club, we get together weekly, online, totally free, log in, and we talk about what we've noticed in our week. We talk about a spiritual principle. Right now, we're working our way through this. The book isn't titled Synchrodestiny, but it's Synchrodestiny with Deepak Chopra, and how to notice a coincidence to manifest and live your miraculous life. And we do a short meditation, and then we send you back to your week to notice what's different. And yeah, it's so powerful. So
It
powerful.
feels like a miracles scavenger hunt
Mm-hmm.
that it's like, oh, here's another one. It's kind of reminds me, you do the heart walk, right? You love to
Mm-hmm.
look for hearts.
Yep. Yep.
And so it feels like that to me, where, oh,
Exactly.
when I'm paying attention, I can see that this just lined up perfectly for me. And there's my favorite parking spot at the supermarket. And
Mm-hmm.
the person that I was thinking about calling called me first. And
Exactly.
these miracles can be tiny. There's no size limit,
Oh
right?
yeah.
It can be
Yeah.
tiny and enormous and everything in between.
And
So,
when you're watching for the small ones, a couple things are happening. One, you're training your brain to be watching for what's working and not what's not. So you feel better. You see what your brain is looking to see. So you start to see the ways your life is working, and you start to see the way what you want is showing up for you. So life starts to feel easier, and you lower your resistance to the bigger miracles because you say, well, if it's possible that what I'm journaling is also what somebody sent me in an email,
right.
then who knows what's possible? And you start to get all of this evidence, this whole catalog of evidence that miracles are happening all the time. Who knows what's possible? And you stop fighting and holding off the big miracles, the big things, because you're no longer saying, well, it can't happen until.
Right. Until this, until that, until this, until that. Because I do feel like as a society, and I'm speaking generally, that we are trained to look for problems and be problem solvers, which is great. It's great to figure out what's not working and then be able to fix it. But
Right.
that's also can do us a disservice if it's the only thing we do. Right.
Exactly.
So we just have to be open to all of it.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, so good, Heather. I love it. I love it. I know. Maybe we should trade readings because I want one from you.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. That'd be fun. All right. So we shared a little bit about us. We've shared about what we do.
Yep.
And I just I am so excited for where this spiritual playground is going to take all of us, you, me, and everyone that is watching and listening, because these are conversations that you and I have very naturally, but also we're always learning, we're always growing.
Yeah.
And when we expand, so do others, right? Because
Yeah,
learning is
exactly.
contagious.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
exactly.
fun, so fun.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh,
Oh, we could talk about this all day. I mean, we could all week. We could just keep going and keep going. But
okay.
I do want to kind of the conversation is education, and so the conversation is already expansive. But I would love to not put you on the spot, but see, before we started recording, we were talking about resistance. And you said something about, I wrote it down so I don't even have to try and
Oh,
remember.
wow. Okay.
Embrace resistance,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Yep.
I asked you, how do you embrace resistance? And I have thoughts, and but I just felt like there was maybe a little couple minute meditation or process or something in there. And so I don't want to put you on the spot if you feel like,
Mm.
but is there something that just kind of bubbles up within you in terms of embrace resistance as this path to alignment, as this path to stop putting up the barriers between you and what you want? Uh,
Mm.
embrace.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know what it's going to be, but well, let's do it. And if you feel called,
Mhm.
if you're feeling moved to jump in or continue, please do.
Okay.
Please do.
Okay.
In fact, if you want, we can baton it. I can pass the baton if that
Okay.
feels good to you.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
absolutely.
right. So let's get everybody on board with this, and
Mm.
all of the beautiful universe, and all of the gorgeous the beings that are supporting us internally, externally, everywhere. I'm going to close my eyes because it is so much better for me, and I'm inviting everyone to close their eyes as well. Take some nice deep breaths in. And as you exhale, going to have you exhale whatever you know and feel is not serving you. So inhale and exhale. Because lots of times we know what's not serving us, and we continue to think and do and be it anyway. Okay, so this idea of embracing resistance. Would like to have you just sit and be wherever you are, and think about a situation, a part of your life where you feel stuck, or you feel frozen, or you feel resistance. Notice what your body is doing as you start to think of this. This could be health, it could be relationship, it could be work, it could be anything. Free choice. You get to pick. Just notice what your body is doing, how you are feeling in your physical body, and also what kinds of thoughts are popping up in your head as you listen to me and you think about this particular area. And I say bubbling up in your head because each one of those thoughts is their own separate entity that is keeping you firmly planted where you are. So visualize in your working memory a bubble. And inside this bubble is one of the thoughts that you're thinking. You're thinking about how You're afraid. You don't know what the outcome will be. You're worried. Whatever those feelings are, put one of those feelings, one of those thoughts in a bubble. Visualize the color of the bubble and the thought. And then instead of keeping it near you, allow a gentle breeze to blow it away. And then another thought. Take a new thought about this situation. Imagine what color it is. And this one, you can actually pop with your finger. And the next one, the thought, the color. And this one you can blow away. So this idea of sitting in the resistance, sitting in the stuck, is much safer. It feels much safer than taking a chance and trying something different. And we've all heard that if nothing changes, nothing changes. But what if instead of picturing these little thought bubbles with the words and the sentences and the feelings and releasing them one by one, what if we use them as fuel? What if we used this idea of resistance and stuckness and fear and worry and doubt? What if we transmuted that into fuel to help us to shift our thinking? And our thinking impacts how we feel, and our feeling impacts how we do, because what we think, whether we believe we can or we can't, we are right. Good old Henry Ford. If I think that I can't, that I'm worried, that I'm afraid, then I'm going to feel afraid and worried and resistant. And that's going to lead me think, feel, do. That's going to lead me to doing nothing and staying exactly where I am in resistance mode. Taking this resistance and transmuting it to a new thought, generating a new thought. We all have the ability to do this. We just need to flip the thought and really sit with the thought. So if the feeling is that I'm scared to do XYZ, scared, that feeling of being scared and fearful, just like stage fright, there's also elements of excitement in that. So the feeling that our body physically has when we're scared, fear is excitement, but it's without the breath. When we're excited, it's and when we're fearful, we tend to hold our breath. So transmuting this fear and shifting the way we think about the fear and shifting it and saying, well, what if it was excitement? What if all of this fear was just me being really excited at the possibility of what could happen or what I could be or how I could feel? And just in shifting and transmuting that thought, it helps us and leads us to physically feeling a different way. And when we feel differently about a situation, when we feel differently then we do differently. It's again, it's the thinking leads to the feeling, leads to the doing. We will do something different when we feel different, and we will feel different when we think different. So shifting that scared to excited, and shifting that I can't to it's coming, or I'll do the best I can, or I'll try, or I just can't yet. I don't even love that one. I do love the word yet. But play around with the semantics, play around with the language, whatever is bubbling up for you. Yeah, you can pop it, release it, blow it away, but transmuting it is where the real power is, because the thinking leads to our feeling, and the feeling leads to us acting and doing something differently. And that, again, I'll say it, is where our true strength and our power and our insight and our joy all is. So go ahead and practice that right now. Take a thought about the resistance. Take a thought that you've been having about the feeling stuck, whether it's whatever the topic. Choose one. And then how can you gently shift it to be something that is more helpful? It's a more helpful thought, because a more helpful thought is a more action-oriented thought. So that helpful thought, sit with it. How does your body physically feel when you think this thought? Because that thought leads to a feeling that's more encouraging. And that encouragement, that hope, leads us to taking action. So if you're feeling better, you're feeling stronger, you're feeling more hopeful, what is one small, tiny step that you can do or try or be? And just sit with that. If it's health related, you've shifted the thought from I can't do it, or I don't know how to do it, to something more powerful. I will try. I'm going to give it a chance. It feels more encouraging. So what is the one thing? Maybe it's just doing laps around your kitchen, moving a little bit more than you did yesterday. Because motion needs motion. A body in motion stays in motion. And our emotions need motion to process, to work through us, to work on us. This feels like a good spot. Heather, if there's something that you would like to add, please feel free to do so. And if not, I will close this up a little bit for us.
Well, I want to invite people to recognize that you took us to a place where there's resistance, a place where what we want feels impossible, where it feels impossible to have the job we want, the relationship we want, the body we want, the whatever we want, whatever we've been trying to manifest. There's this resistance to it. And that shows up as thoughts. It shows up as thoughts of, I can't have it because, or it shows up as memories. This is because my dad was this way. My mom was this, because this thing happened, because my boss. And then all of that shows up and you put it all in these beautiful bubbles, and we could let them float away or we could pop them or whatever happened. But you notice that as the bubbles arise, at least for me, something started to feel different in my body. And notice that there's that something in your body that your brain is coming up with the reasons for. Your brain is saying it's because it's connected to this. And that's helpful, but that's something in your body, that fear, that worry, that belief. That's wanting to be witnessed. And that the process you brought us through helped us connect in with our body. Oh, what's here? Fear, worry. When you can just get in, can connect with that, surrender the resistance to feeling that. You don't have to solve it for it to change. You don't have to understand it all and fix it for it to be different. Being heard and being seen does the work. When we acknowledge, that fear is here, then we can feel different and we can choose something. So allow your awareness to be that you have already done something. If you have gone inside and witnessed the fear and witnessed the resistance and embraced it, and said, you are here, you have already taken a profound action towards creating change in your life. You are already different. So give yourself a great big hug and a pat on the back. Good job, me. I'm proud of you. Good job. Good work for today. Take 2 deep breaths right into your heart. Fill it up. Let it be juicy and sweet, and bring that back with you to today, here and now, wherever you are.
Thank you.
Oh, beautiful. Love
So
it.
beautiful.
So
I love
good.
it. What's that?
I was going to say, I'll see you back in the playground soon.
Yeah. Let everybody play with what we just experienced. I'm going to play with it myself. And yeah, I will see you very soon back in our spiritual playground.
Awesome. Bye, Sue.
We invite you to take this spiritual conversation and play with it in your daily life. Here are 3 things you can do to integrate this new information and make it work for you. First, give it another listen. Second, jot down anything that stands out for you. And third, pass it along to someone you care about and see where the conversation goes.
We are Heather Maguire, the Unconventional Intuitive, and Sue Bergman, the Joyful Oracle. We both guide groups, lead workshops and retreats that create meaningful connection and spiritual growth. To connect with us and learn more about our upcoming experiences, check out the links in the show notes and consider joining us for our magical retreat every September in Winthrop, Maine.